Hey guys, Josh here, and today, instead of Lazy Sundays, I want to do the first part of a series I want to do, where basically I want to go over what is going to be in Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, last week was N7 Day, and they released a new trailer, which looks really cool. But also, there was those articles going out, including a Game Informer article, which basically just had a massive list of information about the game. So I kind of want to go through that. There's so much of it though that to do it in one video would literally be like a half-hour long video, and it'd be me just talking for half an hour solid. And for me to record that would be a pain in the arse, and also just for you watching it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it up into chunks. I think it'll be more easier for you guys to digest it, and also that way you can kind of watch the bits you care about more than others, because there's multiplayer stuff that could be in its own section. If you don't care about multiplayer, then you can kind of ignore that. But anyway, first part is going to be sort of like the story and the setting, which is probably the bit that's kind of the most interesting. So firstly, the story is that around 2185, now I can't remember the exact date of that compared to the original trilogy, but basically the Reapers are coming. They know the Reapers are going to be coming. They know the Reapers exist because they know about Sovereign. It's set after Mass Effect 1, but they don't know the Reapers haven't arrived yet. So it's set after 1 but before 3, and they basically decide we should probably send some of our species out, kind of like Noah's Ark, to kind of just get to another galaxy and see what's there, and potentially be our next hope if things go to shit. So they go out in 4 arcs as part of the Andromeda initiative, going to Andromeda. And these 4 arcs basically have a different race, one race in each basically. So you have humans, I imagine there'll be humans, Turians, Asari and Krogan, probably. That's the 4 races, I imagine. That's the 4 I know have definitely been confirmed. Now, what that means for the Quarian, the Volus, the Vorcha, what else is there? Elcor, trying to think of other races. The Drell and a Hanar. Is we know some of them aren't going to be in it because basically they did a fan thing and they asked, what don't you want? What races don't you care about? Basically. I can't remember who actually lost, but I think Quarians might have been pretty low, which is fucking surprising. Quarians are the best race. So I don't know what's happening with them. Whether some of them maybe just sneak on board some of the arcs or something like that, so they'll be in there. But humans, Asari, Krogan, and Turians are the main 4 races in the game, basically. So each arc is led by a Pathfinder, and the Pathfinder basically monitors them while they're all in cryosleep. Basically, they're all in sort of cryosleep, and the Pathfinder's kind of overseeing them and keeping an eye on them. They have no idea what happens in Milky Way, so they don't know anything about the Reapers coming. They have no clue what happens, so that's their way of kind of basically not having to worry about the ending of Mass Effect 3, is by just saying it's another galaxy, don't care about it. Although there might be some touches on it, maybe in some way, I'm not sure. Be interesting how they do that. They could just say that the Reapers came and just touch on the Reapers coming. I don't know. But anyway, so that's sort of the setting where you go. You play as the human Pathfinder, Alec Ryder. You're his kids, basically. You're either his son or daughter. He has a son and daughter, and you can be one or the other, basically. The other one will still exist, and they'll be basically a member of your squad, I assume, which is quite cool. So you kind of like siblings. And you can customize quite in-depth stuff, basically. You can customize what you look like, what your brother or sister looks like, and what your father looks like. So that's quite cool in-depth. Your father and sibling aren't going to be as much detail as you, obviously, but it's nice to give you that option to kind of make a family, basically. And so basically, something happens at the start of the game, and they haven't said what it is, and basically command gets passed down to you, Alec Ryder's son or daughter, and you're completely untested, unproven. So Commander Shepard had full sort of experience and background and was well known and famous almost before Mass Effect 1 even starts, whereas you are completely unknown, so you have to kind of prove yourself, which is a nice different thing. Rather, it's just a different, completely different to what Commander Shepard was. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. The Nexus is this thing that's been sent ahead, and they said it's like a full command center that has multiple species in charge of it, that's already in Andromeda. So that kind of just says kind of like the Citadel maybe. So there's kind of this idea of this central sort of thing that's like a big city type hub space station thing, probably like the Citadel, which is probably where you'll be spending a lot of time. So that they got that kind of familiarity there. And Hyperion, which is humanity's arc, and there's been some nice memes of taking off the very start of just hype. Basically, when it gets to the Andromeda, it gets to the wrong place and it loses contact with all the other arcs and the Nexus. So basically, you're on your own. Probably most of Andromeda will basically be trying to find the Nexus and like the other races, basically, which would be interesting. Well, for a certain chunk, because we know you get other races because you have them in your squad. So there's probably some sort of element of kind of looking for them to some extent. Maybe the first sort of third of the game, and then I don't know. But anyway, so it'd be kind of cool. Kind of a sense of mystery again, and that's something they said they really wanted to kind of have this idea of basically you're going somewhere unknown, you don't know about the world, you don't know about the enemy, which was what you had in Mass Effect 1 at the very start. You had no idea what the Reapers were. I mean, when I played it, I kept hearing about Reapers. I was like, what the fuck are these Reaper things? And the world was so intriguing. They kind of want to give that kind of first time amazement again, so which is why they've gone with another galaxy. The main enemy is called the Ket, and they don't want to make them this big kind of foreboding enemy, like that's like sort of epic, kind of like the Reapers were, end of the world type thing that you just kind of evil out evil, you know, outright, and you got to stop them. They want them to be foreboding, definitely, but they want them to be kind of not so scary, and kind of you want to emphasize with them a little bit with what their reasoning is. So the kind of what the reasoning could be quite interesting with what it is. And maybe there'll be some kind of choices things on whether you side with the enemy in this one, which could be completely different to Mass Effect. Always had it like the Reapers were wrong, that was it. You had no real chance to maybe think, well, maybe the Reapers are right, could we maybe possibly side with them? You know, at the ending of Mass Effect, ultimately their reasons it's a slightly twisted reason, but ultimately you could agree with their reasoning. So in some ending, could you maybe choose to side with the Ket? That would be really, really interesting. Also, something really cool that they're doing now is that kind of in Mass Effect, it was kind of you had story missions and that was it. Like they were self-contained to one area on a planet, or was it space station, whatever. Once that mission was done, that was it. You kind of move on to the next one. And sort of the stories kind of were self-contained to planets and places, and it didn't really feel like a big the galaxy was massive, but everything had to happen in single places basically. This one, they want the idea of basically stories going across multiple planets, stations, etc. Basically the idea of a continuing story. I get the impression from this is that they're really kind of taking an influence from The Witcher 3, which is a really good thing. Yeah, Witcher 3 had some fucking really good stuff with story that, you know, especially I'm thinking back to the Red Baron stuff, which is still the most impactful thing on me from Witcher, was how good that storyline was with the Red Baron, or Blood Baron, I can't remember what his name, no, not Red Baron, Blood Baron, Bloody Baron. And like he was trying to find his wife and his daughter. You find his daughter and it just kind of ends, and you're like, oh, it just kind of, he's like, his daughter don't want to know him and his wife's probably dead. And you're like, okay, that's a little bit of a sort of dull and depressing ending to that kind of plot thread. But no, it's not the end of the plot thread. And later on in a main quest line, you find his wife, and it's like, oh, okay. And it's like on the other end of the map in a completely different area, and it's like, oh shit. So that kind of thing, hopefully, is the kind of thing they're going to bring into this kind of idea of stories kind of going away and coming back and interweaving with everything together to make it feel like one more big interactive story rather than self-contained sort of side missions. That like, because Mass Effect had these side missions and loyalty missions that was like, you've done this, that's it, forget about it, it's never going to be touched on again. Whereas hopefully they kind of allow its impact and consequences and sort of effects to show on later on. So that's it for the story. The next video will be on like sort of combat and like classes, and that'll be the next episode. So join me for the next episode of like a sort of Mass Effect Andromeda information dump. I'll think of a better word than that. See you next time, guys.